Welcome to the fourth session of this training. Contraband items. What are contraband items? Contraband items are items that are either banned in your country, not for you not to send it out, like it is not allowed to be sent out, or banned in another country so that you don't ship such product to that country. These are contraband items. As at 2024, items like beans, fish, chicken, snail, pomo are banned in UK as at 2024, but that doesn't mean that these items are still banned until 2025. If you check or you ask your shipping companies, these items would have been reviewed and they might no longer be contraband items. So always verify from your shipping company the items that are contraband. Contraband items are not fixed. It's not something that when it is banned, it will be banned forever. No, contraband items are not fixed. If beans is banned in UK this month, you might be surprised that next month beans might not be banned in UK. So it is not fixed. That is why it is advised you always ask for contraband items, especially the items that you are shipping at that particular point in time. Before you ship or before you sort out for those items, call your shipping company and ask if such products are contraband at that moment or not. You can also check custom websites for contraband products. Again, these contraband products, even though they are contraband at that time, or even if there are products that are contraband even now, people are still finding their way to ship those products. So but the repercussion is that if custom find out that product, if they seize it, they might even destroy that product or they might send it back. It's 50-50. So some people still find a way to follow backyard and ship the product, but it's 50-50. So if you are shipping contraband products, bear it in mind that it is 50-50. And there are actually some products that might not go through air, because mini exports mostly shipped through air. So there are some products that you can carry it as luggage and no need of shipping it like differently. Let's say you are traveling, there are products that you carry as luggage and travel. How to fix prices for your export products? Number one, you need a digital scale in order for you to fix your price accurately in kg. So you need a digital scale. If you're doing large exports, no need for digital scale because you are exporting in tons, in containers. So no need for digital scale. Again, before you fix prices for your products, compare your price to the international market, such as Amazon, Jumia. Compare your prices. Then search for your product. If they are selling this brush for $10, you have to make your own price to be lesser than their own. As a newbie, you have to sell it. Okay, let's say this is $10. You have to sell your own for like $8 to gain recognition, to gain trust as a newbie. For large scale export, compare your prices to markets like Alibaba, Tradeford, Trade Key, and so on. The essence is to make your price lower and let your product have authenticity. So if your prices are higher than those in the international market, what is now the essence of buyers ordering from you? They will just kukuma order from there. So let your prices be lower than the one in international market. Now to calculate your price, you first of all, let's say you buy a product worth 50,000 naira and all the expenses, both packaging, both transport, miscellaneous, so everything is 50,000 naira. That is, if you add it together, is 100,000 naira. The cost of your product is 50,000 naira. The cost of your expenses is 50,000 naira. That is 100,000 naira. So that your product, you have to weigh it to know the kg. Let's say you weigh it and it's giving you 100 kg. What you will do is 100,000 divided by 100 kg. So 1 unit price of each of your products is 1,000 naira, because 100,000 divided by 100 kg will give you 1,000 naira. Now to fix the actual price, as we have gotten the cost of each of your products to be 1,000 naira. Now let's add profit. Let's say you want to add 100% profit. You can decide to add 200% profit depending on the categories of the product. Now let's say, okay, you want to add 100% profit. 100% profit of 1,000 naira, which is the price of each kg is 1,000 naira, right? So now you plus your 1,000 naira profit plus your 1,000 naira per kg, that is 2,000 naira. So 2,000 naira is the cost of your product. So now each kg of your product worth 2,000 naira. So what do? You convert it to dollar. You are giving your price in dollar. As your price is 2,000 naira, you have to compare your price with the international market. That is after you have converted it to dollar. If it is lower than the one in the international market, that is great. But if it is higher than it, you have to reduce your price a bit. As far as you are going to still make profit, you still reduce it a bit so that it will be lower than the price in the international market. Now, to calculate your price in large quantity, let's say you buy 30 tons of product, and that 30 tons of product is equivalent to 30,000 kg. Yes, and that your 30 tons of product that you bought, let's say is 9 million naira. What you will do is 9 million naira divided by 30 tons. This will give you 300,000 naira. So that 30 tons of product that you got, each ton of that product worth 300,000 naira. That is your unit price. So to add your profit, you might decide to add 10% profit, 50% profit, 30% profit, depending on your choice. Now let's add 10% profit. Remember, the cost of each product is 300,000 naira. Now let's add 10% profit. Now 10% of 300,000 naira is 30,000 naira, right? As 10% of 300,000 is 30,000 naira, so you now add 30,000 naira to 300,000 naira, which will become 330,000 naira. So the cost of each of tons of your product is 330,000 naira. Then you convert it to dollar. If you convert it to dollar, you still compare your price to the international market. If you want to add 50% profit, that is 50% of 300,000 naira, that should give you 150,000 naira. That means 150,000 naira plus 300,000 naira will give you 450,000 naira. That is the cost of each ton of your product. You convert it to dollar. Remember, you are giving your prices in dollar, so each one convert it to dollar. So if you are shipping 30 tons, so you calculate 330,000 naira or 450,000 naira times 30. That is how to calculate your prices. Different payment method. There are different payment method you can give your buyers. Now for large scale exports, these are different payment method that you can use. Number one is letter of credit. Letter of credit is a method of payment in which your buyer issues a document to his bank, while his bank issue that document to your bank. In most cases, your buyer might issue that document directly to you and you take it to your bank. Your bank will now go through that document, contact your buyer's bank, and verify from your buyer's bank if that buyer is legit and if that buyer has that kind of amount to pay you in his or her account. If they confirm this, that means you will now deliver the goods. If you deliver the goods, you will now take the documents. You now take your documents to your bank. Then your bank will now present it to your buyer's bank. Your buyer's bank will now release the money to you. Remember, those documents you are taking to your bank are the documents your buyer needs to use to clear his or her goods. Without that document, your buyer cannot clear his or her goods. So after you have delivered or you have shipped, you take those documents to your bank. Your bank issues it to your buyer's bank, and your buyer's bank will then pay you the money. This method of payment is the best method of payment, and this is the method of payment I recommend you use if you are doing large scale exports. The second method of payment is telegraphic transfer. This is like an electronic transfer between two countries, from one country to another. Most Asian countries prefer this method of payment, like Malaysia, like Dubai, Qatar. They prefer this method of payment, but do not use this method of payment unless the buyer must pay you in advance. If the buyer cannot pay you in advance, do not use this method of payment. Why? Because you might deliver your goods. After delivering goods, the buyer might decide not to pay you because you've already delivered goods. And you know, in large scale export, mostly you deliver goods before you get paid. So in this method of payment, it's either you collect payment in advance or use letter of credit. If they don't want to use a letter of credit, you leave that contract. Do not take that contract. Yes, do not take it. It is not advisable because scammers mostly use this method. Another method of payment for large scale export is cash against document. This one, after you are finished shipping, you take the document to your bank. Then after you've taken it to your bank will notify your buyer's bank or your buyer, telling them, see, oh, you have shipped these goods, see the document. So once they see the document, they will now pay you your money. Remember, without the document, your buyer cannot clear goods because you need bill of lading and other documents, original documents, before you can clear your goods. So once your bank notify them, your buyer will pay you. Once your buyer pay you, the documents will be given to your buyer. This is also a safe method of payment. Another method of payment is escrow service. Most times, both you and your buyer will be scared. You'll be scared of your buyer running away with your money, and your buyer will be scared of you not delivering the goods. So both of you have trust issue. In this situation, the two of you need a middleman, a company that will stand in between you people, and these companies are called escrow service. How do you do it? Your buyer will pay the escrow service and you deliver the goods. Once you deliver the goods, you present the documents to escrow service, and escrow service will see that, will confirm that, okay, you have actually shipped these goods. Yes, you have shipped it. Then escrow service will then pay you the money. But the best method of payment is letter of credit. That is the method of payment that many large exporters use. So I advise you use letter of credit. And escrow service is rarely used by large scale exporters. Escrow service is mostly used in mini exportation. The fifth method of payment is payment on delivery. As the name sounds, when you deliver, that is when your buyer will pay you. Do not ever use this method of payment. It is not safe at all, because you might end up delivering the product or the goods and the customer might decide not to pay you. Scammers use this method very well. Payment on delivery. Once the goods is delivered, that is when they will now pay you. No, don't use that method of payment. The best method of payment remains letter of credit, and there are two types of letter of credit, which are revocable letter of credit and irrevocable letter of credit. In revocable letter of credit, the buyer might decide to change minds. Maybe the buyer wants to pay you with letter of credit. The buyer might decide to change mind and say, no, I want to use another method to pay you. But in irrevocable letter of credit, once the buyer has signed that I am making payments through letter of credit, the buyer can never change its mind again. So always request for irrevocable letter of credit. That is the method of payment that you should always be using in large scale exportation. Also know that LC, which is letter of credit, is not free. You'll be charged. A particular fee will be charged. So it is not free. So don't see it as if you use this method, it's gonna be free. It's not free. You'll be charged for it. For mini export, method of payment you need to use you need to either use advanced payment, especially for personal shoppers. You need to go for advanced payment. Customers should pay you advance. Let's say if you are starting exportation without any capital, This is where you use the customer money to source out for your product. That is why it is advisable you collect advance payment so that you use their money to source out for this product. But in the case where the customer is having trust issue, the buyer is having trust issue, that means both of you have no other choice than to use escrow service. So the buyer paid to escrow service. In this method, you have to use your own money to source out the product. So you see, starting an exportation does not require a specific amount of money. It depends on the type of contract you get. If you get a contract where the buyer pays you in advance, that means you are starting exportation with zero capital. But if you get a contract whereby the buyer have trust issue, you will now have to use escrow service. That means you are using your money to source for that product. Another method you can use to collect payment is through agents. Let's say you trust your shipping agent or shipping company very well. The buyer can pay the shipping company. After you give the shipping company the goods, the shipping company confirm and pay you the money. Again, if your buyer have any relative in Nigeria or have relative close to you, the relative can come or meet you at the shipping port and pay you the money, or they can come collect the goods and pay you your money. So this is a method of payment for small scale exports. Pricing. Now, in fixing prices for your product, like I said, it depends on the category. Adding percentage of profit to your product depends on the categories of the product. Like I mentioned the categories of products earlier, like agricultural products, processed products, manufactured products, handicraft, mineral and gemstones. They have different percentage of profits you should add to them. Number one, no processing and no packaging pricing. These are products that you did not process it yourself, you did not package it yourself, you just got these products. Example of these products: Indomie, those manufactured products, Indomie, Milo, detergent and so on. These products, your profit margin should be between 15% to 20%. This is the profit margin you should be adding to this product. And when you add this, still check the international market, compare your price. With time, you can still be increasing your price. Number two is unpacked but processed products. These are products that have been fully processed but it has not been packaged. So this product, you are packaging it with your preferred packaging material. You're going to use your own packaging material to package it, either Ziploc bag or you use can, bottles, your preferred packaging material to package this. Example of this kind of product is red oil, garri, grinded groundnut, grinded egusi. You use your own preferred packaging to package it. In this type of product, your profit margin should be around 25 to 35%. That is the percentage of profit you should be adding to this product. Number three is semi-processed and unpackaged product pricing. These are products that have been processed halfway and it has not been packaged at all. So it is left for you to get this product, process it into your desired finished product and package it with your desired packaging. Example of this type of product is dried and peeled plantain, in which you can further process it into plantain flour. Dried yam, which you can further process it into yam flour. Dried and peeled cassava chips that you can process into cassava flour. These are semi-processed and unpackaged products, and the profit margin of these products is 50 to 70%. And always compare your price to the international market. And the fourth one is fully unprocessed and unpackaged product pricing. These are products that have not been processed at all and they have not been packaged at all. So you source for this product or you buy this product, you process it yourself and you package it yourself. An example of this kind of product is maize that you buy to process to pap or powdered pap. Vegetables that you buy and dry using dehydrator to dry them. Fresh catfish that you buy, you have to dry it very well and package it. So this type of product, the profit margin is always 100% and above. and this is the product that you get the highest profit. The unprocessed and unpacked product is where you get a lot of profit. Rules on how to calculate or fix price. When fixing your price, or when converting naira to dollar, to pounds or euro, always use Nigeria bank exchange rate to convert it. Use Nigeria bank exchange rate to divide. Do not use black market exchange rate to divide. So always check in the bank to know the exchange rate for you to use to divide. If you use bank exchange rate to divide it, it is higher. Your profit is higher. You understand what I mean? So use Nigeria bank exchange rates to fix your prices, which is higher. For instance, you want to convert 100,000 naira, and let's say $1 is equal 1,500 naira. You will now do 100,000 divided by 1,500 naira, which will give you approximately $67. Always indicate the type of pricing you're giving your buyer. If it is FOB, that is freight on board, or CIF, that is cost, insurance and freight. We also have C&F, that is cost and freight. This one no insurance, the product is not insured, so if anything happens on transit, you and the shipping company will compensate the buyer.